Alright, what's happening? We've got another video for you today. New knife from Kizer. This is the Mini Sheepdog. Now, this is a new version of the Mini Sheepdog. The only one I know of any of the Sheepdog models that has an opening hole for deployment. I do believe that all the other models are flippers. So when I saw this one, I was like, micarta, check. Opening hole, check. Yes, please. Upgraded blade steel, 154 cm, check. I mean, had to check it out. So ordered off Amazon from Mojave Outdoors. I think they were the first dealer to get them. They're not an exclusive to them like I thought they might be. And this version is called the Kizer V3588C5 Mini Sheepdog. Let's do some size comparisons for you. This is a small knife, guys. So here's a small Sebenza 31, which is larger than the Sheepdog. The clip on this thing, the way it sits, always screws up to the, so you gotta flip it over. I'm talking about the Sebenza. So pivot to pivot, you can see a size comparison there. It is smaller than a small Sebenza. A knife that may be more common, Victorinox Pioneer. It's about the same length as that. It's an Alox, it's an old one. I've had that one for years and years and years. And how about the f5.5? A lot of similarities here, guys. Same kind of blade shape, kind of. This is more of a cleaver. This is more of a sheep's foot, but here's a good size comparison for you. And last but not least, Spyderco Sage, which is a little bit bigger. Actually, quite a bit bigger knife. All right, so it's a small guy, really small. But when I first got it, I was like, man, this thing's too small. What am I gonna do with this thing? It's gonna be a fun fidget toy, and that's about it. And while that action is important, it's a very well designed knife to be small. So some small knives work really well and some don't. This one is one that does. So your overall specs is 5.77 inches overall length at 2.63 inch blade with about 2.5 inch cutting edge because of this choil. Blade thickness is 0.11 and it is obviously a mini cleaver, sheep's foot. I would call it more of a cleaver than a sheep's foot, but blade shape. Now, I've had it long enough to give my first impressions, do a review on. I shouldn't say first impressions, more of a review on this guy. I used it quite a bit. You can really speed up your review process, in my opinion, if you actually go out and use your knives. So I used it quite a bit, did a lot of cardboard processing with this guy, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well it did for how small it is. It's one of those knives that definitely performs more than its size. So I even got some like residue on it. I need to clean off, but measuring the blade, not the blade thickness, but the thickness behind the edge, it's a slicey little guy. Comes in at about 17 thousandths behind the edge, and it felt super slicey. I was like, man, I like how slicey this blade is for being this kind of blade shape. It really just glided through cardboard, like no problem at all. Felt really thin. Has a thinner blade stock. I mean, that 0.11 thickness is, you know, similar to the small Sebenza. Actually, a little thinner, looks like. Definitely thinner than the Vox. The Vox has got some pretty thick blade stock. And I mean, these are just nice to have handy. The Sage as well. So thinner than all those overall, especially when it tapers right here on the swedge. So it's a little deceptive. You kind of have to look at the rear here, it's very similar. So it's got a pretty thin blade stock for a cleaver, you know, style blade. Thin behind the edge, so it slices. Where this knife works well is not in the traditional carry or a grip. So if I'm like this, my hand, I don't have large hands, I have medium gloves, and this is small, right? It gets swallowed up in my hand essentially. And it doesn't feel that comfortable. Where it works is if you use a couple different grips. This one works really well, where if I put my finger right up here, and when I've looked at this knife in the past, I've never really realized why it had this little ramp, thumb indent right here. it's actually for your finger to rest on, I feel. And if you get it in this kind of grip, that knife, you have so much control over the blade, first of all, and you're making these cuts, it's super comfy. I know it's weird and a little, not everyone uses their knife like that, but it works really well. Another grip that works well is to use the jimping and this little choil right here and kind of pinch it right there between your thumb and your index finger, and then you got a lot of handle that way, and you can do a lot of fine cuts. This way, just your standard, what I would call my standard grip, I do not get 4 fingers. Because of this forward choil, kind of ramping in there, it pushes that off. It's about 3.5 finger grip. And then if I, like I said, if I did the hammer grip, it really swallows the knife up. It's comfy. It's actually way comfortable, but it really swallows it up. You don't feel like you have as much control on the blade. Now, if I choke up in this, it's possible. But where I really found the best use of this knife as a utility knife was to use this grip or this right here. You could even pinch where the hole is. So it's actually very capable as a secondary EDC, you know, part of your EDC. It's a smaller knife, it's less threatening. It looks really good. Like the aesthetics on this guy are really handsome. Like that black micarta is really good looking. It's got that black wash finish on the blade. Just a really good looking knife. And I would love, love, love to see this in the regular size Sheepdog. The regular size Sheepdog is about a 3.25 inch blade. And it's just got a bigger handle, and it would be such a good EDC everyday primary knife. They do make the Sheepdog in all kinds of safe shapes and sizes, right? They have 3 models. They have the mini, the regular, and the XL. All of them have flippers, though. This is the only one that does not, and they brought it out in a mini. I'd love to see this brought out in just a regular size, 3.25 inch. I would be all about this knife. It would be a fantastic EDC. Also maybe, I mean, 154 cm is a step up from B1N. What they were running, I don't really know actually, that's pretty close. B1N is not a bad steel, it's got that nitrogen in there. So either way, it's a budget knife. It's $62 on Blade HQ right now. I think it's on sale. I paid $69. I thought this was a Mojave Outdoors exclusive. It's not. Blade HQ carries it as well. But a lot of people are like that it has the opening hole. I prefer an opening hole on a knife over any type of opening deployment. Over thumb studs, over flippers, you know, Spyderco. The Spidey hole works awesome. That middle finger flick is so satisfying. I love it on the Vox. Striders have this same oval shaped hole, have forever and ever. I think it's just my preferred way to open a knife, so I had to give this one a try with that. And I do like it as a secondary carry knife. The centering was spot on out of the box, still is, after a lot of use. I just stropped it. It's still razor sharp. It'll still cut through, you know, it'll still shave arm hair easily. Oh yeah, it came very sharp from the factory. And, you know, it touches up really easily. That's a good thing about 154 cm. What's some other thoughts? Oh, the action. It is on bearings, and it is very crisp and fun to fidget with for sure. Now, I did a poll recently, and I'm going to bring this up and maybe just do a separate video on it, on what's important to people in a knife. And the number one thing so far, which I hoped it would be, was cutting performance. But one of the other options I did was action or fidget factor is what I said. That really has to do with the action, and that does make a difference in knives. I'm not going to lie. I fidget with my knives. We all do. They are tools. Number one, without a doubt, they are meant to cut things. If they don't cut things well, no matter how good they fidget and flick, I'm not going to use or keep that knife, right? But having a good action along with that cutting ability is ideal, right? That's where we want to be at. That's the sweet spot. When you get all those things that work together, the aesthetics, which my YouTube poll only allowed me to do 5 choices, and everyone's like, you didn't do aesthetics. I know I didn't. I wanted to. I didn't realize it was only going to give me 5 options, so I had to go out and redo the whole poll. It didn't. I know that's an important thing. The other ones were how it carries. This is a little knife. It doesn't have deep carry. It's not going to carry deep in your pocket, but it is so small that it's not a big deal, and I carry it in my 5th pocket. Like, it's definitely a 5th pocket knife. I also, like, most of the time these days I'm wearing like sweatpants, or, you know, I work from home full time now, so it's like I don't need to be wearing jeans and stuff all the time, and this is really nice for that because it's lightweight. Speaking of weight, We haven't talked about that, so let's go ahead and bring that scale in and give it 2.5 ounces, very lightweight. I'm not going to even notice it's in your pocket. The one downside of this for carry is how wide it is. Because of that, you know, cleaver-ish blade, it's a 1.39, almost 1.4 inches wide. So it does take up a lot of space in your pocket. That's why it works so well, though, as a 5th pocket knife, because who in the world is actually using that for a watch anymore? Well, you know, kind of what they designed it for. Most of us have it's an empty pocket in our pants. The 511 jeans that I wear, the Flex Defenders, they have a much bigger than normal 5th pocket. They can fit, like, easily fit a small Sebenza, this f5.5. Like, they could fit any of these knives on the table, the Sage, easily. But your traditional pants are probably going to be more, you know, this size, or like a Pioneer or a Cadet, you know, A-Lux. So yeah, guys, for the price point, just over 60 bucks, it's a total winner, man. It has a beautiful action. I mean, it is super dialed in. That detent, just the fidgetability. You got your thumb hole opening, you got your middle finger, or your thumb opening and middle finger flick works fantastic. It could probably be flicked with every finger on your hand if you wanted it to. It's just a fun one to fidget with. And it looks great, good aesthetics, and it's surprisingly a very good cutter. I wasn't expecting a lot with this blade shape. I have reviewed the mini Sheepdog before in the past, or not the mini, the full size, or the regular one, not the XL, just the regular Sheepdog, and it's been a while since I have. And I believe it was even in the titanium version. I like these micarta liner locks. I think they're fantastic. They have a few different options of these. I believe Knife Center maybe has one that has like 4V steel even, which is crazy. Maybe overkill for this knife, for a mini especially, but still cool. So this is a cool line of knives. I know a lot of people like to collect these. This model is very popular for Kizer. This is my favorite variation of it yet. I think it's awesome. I love that opening hole, non-flipper. In a world of flippers, knives these days, it's nice to have one that's not, right? All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the video. Actually, let me roll in some footage, some minor footage I did. Maybe not. I may or may not. It's not really going to change the review or anything like that, so we'll see. I may throw that in the end if you want to see that cutting. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you the next time.